This episode is powered by Hyatt, your smart companion for digital business solutions, and by Auditag's gracious invitations and support. Thank you for having me at the conference and fueling this journey. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of Devs on Tape. Today, again, at Kscope from Auditag in Texas, in Grapevine, to be precise. Today, my first female guest in this podcast, this conference, Monica Lee. Hi, Monica.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good to see you. Doing great. Ready for what, day 3?
Day 3.
Day 3.
Yeah,
right?
With the supposing, right?
Yeah.
So, Monica, for everyone who does not know you, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Sure. Well, like you said, my name is Monica Lee. I work for one of the vendors here, Viscosity, as their director of operations and also director of marketing. So it's always funny when I come to these events, everyone just expects I'm the marketing sales girl, but really I'm helping run the company. So they let me do this because I love it.
That sounds great. Exactly what I thought when we first met like a couple of Kscopes ago. And you're deeply into tech too, right?
Define deeply.
You know what the guys around you are talking about.
For the most part, yes.
Okay, so two, I would say, high positions at a company like Viscosity might be so much work, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's not a department I don't touch at Viscosity.
How do you do that? How can you press that in like 40 hours a week?
A lot of help and great teams. That's how that works.
That sounds nice. So let me just go a little bit back in your history. So we would like to know more about your career. So you didn't start like in this position here at Viscosity, right?
No. If you told me I was going to go into tech or the tech world, I would have laughed, truly laughed. Although I think most of my family always assumed I would be some kind of engineer of sorts because my brain definitely works like that.
Okay.
But I've also just been a creative forever. I've always been a science lover. So I truly thought, as coming out of high school, that I was going to become a physical therapist or go med school route. Then I ended up 3 years into my university changing over to fashion design.
Okay, just say, I love fashion. I'm going out.
Yeah, I don't know, something wasn't clicking. And I'm sure you could imagine my parents were like, what? You're going to do what?
You told them afterwards or during a decision?
During the transition. I was just unhappy with the track I was on. Like I still love science. I have danced all my life, so I've always loved human anatomy and all those things. But yeah, something just wasn't clicking quite right. And I started kind of revisiting a bunch of different career paths or at least learning paths. And somehow this came up. I would never say I was a fashionista, but I love creation. I love design. I love all those things. So I went into what was called textiles and apparel fashion design. And it's actually fairly science heavy at the university I went to as well. So it was very enjoyable for me.
So going to a creative job, so it was basically really a switch, right? So you get completely in the creative lifestyle, I would call it, right?
Yes.
So you were like, I just imagine you were like writing, like painting sketches of new fashion pieces, right? And you're not behind in the economics of the fashion design. You really just moved into a creative path, right?
Yep, absolutely. Which it's actually interesting now, like being in this world that I'm in. It's, we're a consulting company, and part of that learning experience in fashion design was not just designing stuff for yourself. It was the first time, as a young person that I had to realize, you're not designing for just yourself. You have to really think about what people want, what people need, what will actually look good on so many different types of people, body types, taste, things like that, right? So I think it was the first time I realized like, there's a lot of jobs where you're not really doing exactly what you want, what you like all the time, but you are for others. And opening your perspective to helping other people in that way was really interesting. But I loved that. I absolutely loved that aspect.
So you just jumpstarted working in this business, or did you do kind of an apprenticeship or something?
So I did. I interned in New York City, worked New York Fashion Week, an amazing, amazing design firm called Schooler, which I still love. And I had my whole Manhattan experience and then got a job after that. So
we might talk about the community stuff you're doing in this area, I think, because NYOUG is something we want to talk about later. But
Yeah.
So being in the fashion environment, so you said already that your brain is working like not differently, but you do all the things together, right? So now you're doing like consultancy stuff, operation stuff, and also the marketing stuff.
Yeah.
So how does that fit into just doing fashion designs and so on?
Oh gosh.
Did you run the company right after that, right?
No. With fashion?
Yeah.
No, I was a lowly foot soldier for a long time. I ended up designing children's and women's wear.
Okay.
And it actually, yes, to your point, transitioned very well because I did a lot of things for this company, such as like artistic direction for photo shoots. I was called the baby wrangler because we would do like little kids.
Yeah.
And, trying to get them photo shoot ready is so difficult, but as you can tell, I'm a very animated person.
Yeah.
So I got kids, I got it. It's not too different than chasing my colleagues around these conferences, wrangling them up.
For our listeners, there's so much energy right now in this room. I had to set up the equipment very fast today because there was kind of a delay, but the moment you entered the room, there was so much energy again, so I'm able to record it on time.
You pivoted super fast. You were great.
Thank you. But yeah, wrangling babies to get the photo shoot, I totally get that. So
yeah,
I can.
Being ready for anything, man. So like you getting this room set up, me having to pivot in all these different departments of either Viscosity or the design world, it's really one of the best life skills you could have.
So, and then at some point you switched back from being, you didn't stop being creative, right? But you switched back going to more than like the engineering economy, right? So how does this switch happen?
Sure. Let's see. When I finished design work, or I guess was looking for a next opportunity, it was 2011 or 2012. And it was basically like kind of the end of that recession we had here in the States. So a lot of retail was just, they were trying to stick it out. They were trying to survive through that time. And it was just, a lot of people were closing.
Okay.
There was not as much money in that industry for sure. So I started looking around at different things and I actually launched my own boutique.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. In the meantime, I sucked it up, moved back home, went out and was a buyer, created my own website, figured out my own like shopping platforms, like just started figuring all this stuff up, still got to do graphic design work and, whatever I wanted, did my own photo shoots, did my own styling. It was great.
You used
Super
to do
fun.
that already, right? So
honestly, yeah. I try to do that with my team too.
I mean, being on so many different levels, like you do your own job, this fits totally to what you told me because you're doing like everything from buying, website creation, also marketing, photo shoots. That sounds pretty nice. And then you found like Viscosity right after that, like founding a boutique.
Yeah. So only, I think a year after launching, no, actually I take that back. Pretty much a week after I launched my website, went live for sales, I got a call from somebody at Viscosity who knew me saying they needed a lot of help and was I looking for any work.
Okay.
And I mean, at that point, I was kind of like, hey, I might as well keep learning about a business while running mine, but like using someone else's time and money and efforts.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure.
Why not? So I said, of course. And I started working just part-time for them and then still working my boutique. I would set up like little pop-up shops at like music festivals and bars. And, so I always had fun with that. So I
always humble, right?
Yes. And the bar scene, I'm always on the bar scene with Viscosity and previous jobs. So Viscosity basically needed a lot of help on the back end of just running the business, so operations. And I told them, sure, I'll work, but I won't work Fridays because I'll probably be doing my own sales and whatnot. So they said, okay. I just slowly grew from there. And it's kind of a bizarre thing when I think back to it because I truly thought this is just a little part-time thing while I try to pursue my own entrepreneurial fashion stuff. So yeah, it went on for almost, 4 years. I did both my boutique and Viscosity, but I just grew more and more. I grew so fast at Viscosity, just taking on more stuff. Viscosity was only a year old at that time. So it was pretty much a consulting firm run by the like billable consultants. And so they were running out of time to like actually bill the clients. And actually they had no social media. No one was really managing a website. They just were, bringing in their clients by word of mouth and they were thinking they were like, okay, we're doing all this work, but we we need to invoice them too, and we need to do all these other things. So that's why I started there. And so I got to learn so much about the back end of a business.
So how much, so you are contributing to the community very much, right? So you have so much community engagement and you worked hard on conferences. I always see you. So did you already had a talk about technical stuff?
No.
No. It's just everything around, right?
Yes. So I started learning on the job. I did not know what Oracle was. I did not know what a database was. I knew what apps were,
Yeah, sure, of course.
as a user, sure. But yeah, I had no idea what kind of industry I was stepping into. And I remember my bosses brought me to Oracle Open World. That was my first conference.
Okay.
And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And yeah, I learned so much from there. I started getting involved more with the marketing and sales side of the job, which had me working with a lot of Oracle PMs and also a lot of Oracle sales folks. So yeah, I obviously, like, the people who hired me really brought me to speed with what we were doing for people. And, I at least have that enough of an understanding of how things work. And
it's enough, right? It's
yes. So it was fairly easy for me to grasp at least the basis and go from there. And that was already like 12 years ago.
Like 12 years ago.
I feel so old. Yeah.
So I already mentioned your community engagement. So it is definitely part of your job to be like in the communities and being connected to them.
Yeah.
But how does this work? Like doing the marketing part and the operations at a company and be also like so active in the community without everyone telling constantly that who you work for, right? So we all know the different sides, right? So organizing stuff and saying I'm from Viscosity, but I'm now here for, is it Auditak or is it just like a lone ranger walking around communities?
Yeah. So honestly, with everything I just spoke about, being able to meet so many people at these conferences, I mean, if anything has been more consistent than this, I don't know what it is, but I've just always loved people. I love people. I love getting to know them, even if I have no idea what they're talking about. I just love listening and I love asking questions. So it's been very natural for me to fall into the communities here at these conferences and all these user groups around the world. I love it. And they're people that organize and volunteer for these things that I very proudly call my friends now.
Yeah.
And getting to see, I guess, the unique position I hold is I get to talk to clients. I get to talk to prospective clients. I get to talk to the people who are selling and creating these products. And then I get to talk to the people who are trying to spread that word and that knowledge. And so it's really nice to just see it, almost like ground up what all these things are doing. And, even if I personally don't have to partake in, I guess, the technical piece, I love seeing what it really does and the value that it really holds. And seeing all these people that are so passionate about what they're talking about and what they're doing is, gosh, in any field, always so exciting. So I love connecting people. I do it in my personal life with my alumni group from my university. I do it with the dance community I'm part of.
There's still time to do that.
Anywhere I go, anyone I talk to, I'm always thinking in my head like, oh, you would love this person. I need to introduce you to this
Connect
person.
everyone.
And yes, I love it. So yes, this was a very natural fit for me here. So I'm very happy to be involved in these communities, and I'm very lucky that they let me do it.
Okay, so you were talking like multiple times about your dancing experience. So tell me about that. I don't even ask how you fit that in your day, but you told me beforehand also that you are very into like dancing, and you already said that you're doing like paid dancing.
Yes.
Not using the wrong words here, so please
we have to
be
be very
reminded.
careful about how we refer to this.
Yeah. So start at the beginning and tell our listeners what like paid dancing is here.
Gigs.
Yeah.
We'll call them gigs. That
okay.
I'm cents money. It's not dollar bills. So.
to make that clear.
Yes.
Bear in mind that I'm not native English speaker, so we don't have to cut that out.
It's good. It's good. It's fun. So since I was young, well, not too young, maybe like high school, I started dancing a lot more. And into my college career, I would take like jazz, hip hop, those kind of classes. LA street jazz is a big thing back then. Now it's called jazz funk. The whole world keeps changing, but it's something I've always loved. I'm sure you can tell by my personality. I love performance. I have a lot of energy just in my face alone. So mix that with the love of music, and it's such a deep passion in my life. And so I'm very happy to be almost 38 years old and still doing it, dancing with 20-something-year-olds and getting paid to do it. Yeah, so that was really great. So I guess in the last couple of years, I found kind of a new dance community I love. They're called pop stars, which is very my era of like the Britney Spears kind of style. Like it's very new millennial, turn of the century. Yes, it's that style of dance. I never know how to best explain it. For a lot of people, they may relate it to like halftime cheerleaders or whatever. They're all dancers now. They're not really cheerleaders, but it's that kind of style. So it's very sassy, energetic, poppy. But I love that.
Sounds like the best contrast to working like a kind of an office job, right?
Yeah.
So
I go straight from the office to dance class like 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow.
It is the best decompressor for getting all of that workday stress out of your system, at least for a couple hours.
I mean, I already said to our listeners that there's so much energy in this room right here. I asked myself, how do you get this energy? Because at least I can tell that I see you at each and every Kscope here, and I know that you're traveling around and go to other conferences. How many conferences do you attend, and how do you make this work during
before 2020, we were probably doing 1 a month, maybe sometimes 2, maybe skip it. But my suitcase was never fully unpacked.
Okay,
never fully unpacked. This year, it's probably been like 4 or 5, maybe some smaller ones mixed in there.
Basically in the States, right? So
yes.
We are here in Texas, and it's not that far away from where you guys are located, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Just around the corner.
Yep. Right now, we're about 30 minutes from my office.
Okay. So don't drive home after Kscope every evening, right?
Yes, I do.
That's not that far away. So the conferences are all in the States, and I think you don't have to fly more than 5 hours.
Oh, no. That's the beauty of Dallas.
Yeah.
It's a big airport, and it takes me like 3.5 hours to New York City and 3.5 hours to San Francisco. So
talking about New York City, so you, for myself, I watch on my inbox, and you noticed me that you asked multiple times to speak at your group there. What are the reasons you are having a user group in New York and being located like next to Dallas?
So this is actually an interesting story. When the pandemic hit and all of these user groups around the country, started having to pivot and try to figure out what to do without being in person, the New York Oracle user group has existed for many, many years. And they were the only user group who responded to me to like partner up and just like be super webinar heavy. Everyone else was kind of like, oh no, we don't really know what we want to do yet. And New York Oracle user group was like, yeah, let's do it. And so since March 2020, gosh, we've done 1 to 2 webinars a month, sometimes more, sometimes less, but very consistent. And we get some amazing speakers. And now the New York Oracle user group like followers are just worldwide, because the last 5 years we've just been pumping out great content from international speakers all around Oracle. So
how many people are attending those webinars?
Probably our largest ones are between 300 and 400, maybe like 375, I think was our biggest one.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if that's big or small, honestly.
I think it's pretty nice to have that kind of a big audience, like each and every session. Not each and every, right? But there are some of them very, very heavy.
Yes. And all of our followers know they can like rewatch videos. So I'm sure a lot of them are like, I'll just register so I don't forget about it. But yeah, we do get some great turnout, and it's been interesting creating more connections with people just virtually over those 5 years.
So you don't have to travel that much, right? That was my following question. If you're going to New York each and every time when something happens there, so
no, because it's all been virtual. So we actually just did our first in-person event in January in New York City. So a very cold time to be in New York City for a Texas girl, but
I remember,
it was very fun. Yeah. So yeah, it's just been a partnership, Viscosity and NYOUG. Just continuing that awareness and keeping people connected. And we love it. And yeah, they're great. Coleman at NYOUG is awesome. So I know I have a task here with all these awesome speakers to to fill up our list. So Kai, you're next.
just in-person talks, right? So I'm not into remote, so maybe not in January. So
we need to get a sponsor for you to fly out there.
We see. So put a podcast booth in there, and I do both, and then we can combine that.
Yeah, actually, I do one in Chicago as well. Yes, I actually run an annual conference there, and sometimes it's at Willis Tower in the Oracle office, and it's beautiful.
Okay.
So we're going to have to get you out there.
Let's talk about that after the episode. Maybe we can get Caro too in it.
Sounds
right?
great.
She's at this point, I have to greet Caro. She can't be here. She's waiting like almost now. Her first baby.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, big greets out to Caro.
Yes. You got this, girl.
And if anyone could say it, it's you, right? So there's so much energy. I don't know what to tell. All right. So community work besides NYOUG. So at conferences, what are you doing here? What's your work? So you obviously get everyone here. You're obviously doing the parties, I guess.
Yes.
What's the kind of preparation you do when you plan conferences?
Sure. So I'm very thankful for my marketing and sales teams that I have. They help us in preparation for all of these events. So just awareness, branding. We don't really enjoy being hard salespeople. We're like, just come hang out with us.
I remember that.
Yes. And it's what kind of sets us apart. I don't know if that's from my personality or my boss's personality, but we're not real salespeople. We're just people.
Yeah, people.
Yeah. So that's why we are known for our parties. So I get the fun job of getting to plan these parties. So whatever we're doing, it's probably because that's what I wanted to do.
And it was good in the past.
So fun. Do you remember that ping pong?
Yeah, it
in
was
Seattle,
in Seattle, right? Yeah, yeah.
That was so fun.
I was looking forward to Kscope party from Viscosity. We have to talk about that later, right?
Yes. Sometimes, we just got to focus on our clients and have a nice night. But there may be some things going on.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah. There might be secret parties. We'll see.
We see I'm in the loop. We might have to turn off the microphones. But now, let's dive into our categories. So,
right.
I didn't tell you before. So we have our categories. The listeners of the podcast wished them back at the last conference. So we introduced them again. And those categories are used to compare like our guests a little bit to see how they work with different stuff. And we have 3 categories inside this section. It's hypothetically. This might be the first time I said this word correctly on the first try. And in private. And consumption. So the first question from the category, hypothetically, it's the second time on first try. Nice. If you could undo one technological trend in recent years, what would it be?
Ooh.
It could be everything, right? You don't have to talk about databases. We already had that point. It could be, no, I will not say any example. That wasn't error I did before, but
I feel, and this kind of goes against what I do for a living, but my first instinct wasn't really, I don't have a word for it, but just the quantity of how accessible video and all of this, like, swiping action, I'm not a fan of it. And it just, on your brain, it's a great tool for so many reasons, but I feel like it is making a lot of our brains kind of crumble a little bit.
So this time I avoided giving you any example, but always those categories, the same question almost every time will be answered with exactly this answer.
Really? Yes. Yeah. It's like too much, and there's not always reliable sources of what you're reading, right? There's too much of it. And you could apply this to anything, right? Dating, TikTok, Instagram, all these things. And it's just like, it's kind of made people a little more robotic in a way, not as considerate as to what they're actually consuming. And yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
I told you before. So we knew that, like, this is the answer many of our guests are giving. So what we started in November last year is recording this with those cameras standing around us right now, just to publish 20 seconds bits on exactly those platforms you want to get rid of. But let's use it like an instrument to get people up to date and do short bit of advertisement. So what we will never do is split the screen in 2 paths. In the one lower part, there's some game to keep everyone
my
interested
gosh,
while
yes.
listening to something. I think this is really a problem of those platforms, that you have videos and you need something else in it to have the attention span, which is
Yes.
like decreasing heavily from people. They are not able. I don't want to bash young people anymore, but
Sure.
that people are using those platforms are not able to watch like 10-minute videos on YouTube. They need
Right.
something quicker and faster, and they just
Yes.
swipe through it.
The instant gratification has come
Yeah.
to a whole new extreme. You know, no one remembers waiting for dial-up to like get connected.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that time,
Commercials,
right?
right? Yeah, no, it's for as a marketer, it's crazy to compete with that. But as a consumer, it's just it is difficult to focus on things and find the content that really matters sometimes. So yeah.
So that's not the goal of the shorts and reels, right? So I have this guilty pleasure that I'm using those platforms and swiping to it, but only once a day.
Yes.
In the evening to shut my brain off, because
I do the same.
this is exactly what you have to do, because there's no sense in it. But you can see,
Yeah.
you can laugh at it, you can swipe it away, you can just see something interesting, but there's no like quality of content in there.
Right.
And so you don't get anything like news from politics or something in it. It's just like wasting my time and shutting my brain off. And that's really
absolutely what I do. Memes all night until I can just forget the.
All right, let's try to get rid of that in the future.
I always think of, is it from Superman where they say with great power comes great responsibility?
Yeah.
That is what a content creator needs to remember.
Wow, this is such a great quote. I might create a shot of it and put it on the platform next week. Also, awesome. Let's go to the next category. So in private, would you show us your screen time? It's basically going to the same topic. Would you show us your screen time on the phone without blushing? You don't actually have to show it.
Oh, yeah.
But
I would.
Some people are embarrassed by
I was literally grabbing my phone right now. It's like, okay, here.
Look at it. Like it's 25 hours a day, right? It's constantly on the phone. No, so this is basically, it's coming back in the consumption part of the categories. Next question from in private. Are you satisfied with your work-life balance?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have struggled with that for many years, and I am finally, maybe over the last 2 years, feeling a lot happier with it.
Okay.
I will say, like, the example for the dance group that I was doing paid gigs for, so that would be like private parties and events. I realized after a year of doing that on top of my job, I started really hating dance.
Okay.
I had created 2 jobs back to back, and I didn't have my, my fun, stress-free dance life anymore.
As soon as money comes into the game, it's not the same, right? So if
it's a different expectation of you too, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just doing it for fun. I now need to perfect it. I need to deliver whatever someone paid for and what they sought us out for. So yeah, it just became super stressful, and I feel like I was doing good before that. And then I was like, oh, this is great. I can get paid to dance. And then after a year of that, I was like, oh, I went backwards in my work-life balance. So I'm coming back to it this year. Now I'm trying to rework my like health goals back in there, because after all of that dancing, I was like, oh, I'm taking a break. And then I was like, oh no, I can't take a break this long.
Avoid getting any hobby that you can make money out of it. So you might go the same route, right?
Yes. So yes, it's always been a struggle. I quite honestly love my job, and I love working. I love doing things. So that was always hard for many, many years to turn off that brain. Obviously, with Viscosity, since I do so many different things, it can be hard to get everything done.
Yeah, but you love it.
I do love it, but I have had to learn that even if I think I love it and I want to do it all day long, no, I need to put those boundaries down. And there's so many other aspects of life I need to focus on as well. And it ultimately just makes me happier. So I'll still sometimes have just a late nighter for fun getting work stuff done, but it's not sustainable.
I mean, our German listeners might hate me for that, because I always we had one episode, a German guest was telling us the new word, like not work-life balance. It was like work-life blending.
Oh,
because it's, if you love your job, if you can adjust what you do on each and every day, you can just adjust it with what you like to do, right? So when I'm doing social media stuff and doing maybe podcasting stuff or preparing presentations, and kind of fits into what I'm doing each and every day in the bureau and in the office, then I can just see that it makes me happy in the end of the day. And it's not like work and private time. It's like blending.
I love that. I think you just explained my whole life.
So now you can use this term and you can, whenever you talk to someone, you can use this term as much as I do in this podcast.
I love that. Work-life blending. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's my new motto.
Also to get this into your life now. All right. Next category is consumption. So how do you consume news and knowledge? So like if it's news in the politics, economics, or even in your business life, like marketing news and something, or fashion news, do you use like newsletters, Twitter, books, magazines, or what is your way to consume something besides swiping, right?
Yep. There are a couple things I probably subscribe to at least give me snippets daily of things that I may want to know, just worldwide news, local news. I think I have some on tech news, but I don't open them very often.
But you say you subscribe them, right?
Yes. So I do try to revisit some of those things. Honestly, if we talk about consumption, Instagram is my downfall.
Oh, okay.
Instagram is where I get everything, but I am always see something on Instagram, Google it afterwards, because I like to at least try to find different takes on whatever I see there.
There's a setting in the iPhone which is restricting screen time for different apps.
Oh, yeah.
So if you say it's a downfall, you might change something.
We might need to look and see what my screen time is there.
we might do that afterwards, so you don't have to blush. So Caro did a great thing, also already mentioned in a German episode of Devs on Tape, that she turns her iPhone like screen to black and white.
Oh.
So the visual engagement is not that high. So don't get this.
Smart.
Yeah. Right. So you can see everything. You can read everything. You can see the pictures, but it's not so addicting, right? So this might be another thing.
That's great. Yeah.
I will never see you with the iPhone in black and white. I'm very sure of that, but I will try. Let's see if this works for you. So next question. Do you turn off your cell phone at night?
Off? No.
Never off.
And it is my alarm clock, so I know that's not so great.
But this question is like pointing at being available for work, like emergency calls. I don't know how many you got, but are you constantly available?
I am constantly available, but I will ignore you if I feel like that's a boundary.
Okay.
So no iWatch, nothing on my physical body is connected to my iPhone, and I don't normally have my iPhone on me all the time either. I will say with consumption, the difficult part of, if you're an iPhone and a MacBook, that can make it hard for work and all my volunteer work that I do outside of work. It's a lot of texting. And so that is in my face a lot. But at night, shoot, I'm pretty good at ignoring people.
That's
sorry, everybody, if you now know why I'm not responding to you sometimes.
So this is the information for everyone who listens to the podcast until the end. Thank you very much for joining me, Monica. It was really a great pleasure to talk to you and get an insight of everything we already thought you would do, because you're jumping around, being on every single conferences,
This is no coffee either.
No. Also, I would like to thank Caro again for cutting this episode. Until when she's coming to this part of the episode, she might be happy about being graded again. So, Caro, everything will be good, and we see you or hear you right after.
Yes.
The little
and we're thinking of you.
Exactly. So thank you again. Thank you to our listeners, and we will hear each other in 2 weeks again. Have a great conference, Monica.
Thank you so much for having me.
This episode is powered by Hyatt, your smart companion for digital business solutions, and by Auditag's gracious invitations and support. Thank you for having me at the conference and fueling this journey.